Hey folks, today is Wednesday, December 15th, and just a little holiday end of the year message for you. I know many of you know I've worked at RiverWoods for about 27 years. And for sure, this has been the hardest 2 years of that time, and I'm sure the hardest 2 years for you too. Perhaps for people like me who really like certainty, the unrelenting uncertainty of the past 2 years has been tough. You never know the end result of a decision or an action you take, but in the last few years, those decisions have seemed more important and the actions have seemed more risky. And so dealing with the uncertainty associated with them is hard. And for all of us, we've all had that in our personal and our work lives. And we're dealing with the reactions related to that now as we come out of that. This has been a very long time. And, everyone's reaction is a little different. Many are not good. But we're learning, and we're learning together. And the thing is, as hard as the last 2 years have been, it hasn't been all bad. We enter 2022 with reliable testing, with working vaccines, and now it seems that we will enter 2022 with working therapeutics to fight this COVID-19. So those are all good things. And, green shoots is what we like to call them. And as a community and a family of communities, we are beginning to look around the corner again, not just at today, but tomorrow. What are the impacts? What have they been? How do we deal with the future? And, we've always been successful trying to stay one step ahead, to make changes before they seemed necessary, to be able to predict. And I'm sorry we didn't get out ahead of predicting this pandemic. That would have been helpful. But the ability to look to the future, to keep one eye on the present and one eye to the future, helps us keep all of our promises to our residents, right? We make important, long-term, very serious promises to you. And for us to be able to do that and keep those, we have to be looking to the future. We have to be sort of forcing the thinking on innovation and where we go from here. And for sure, the pandemic has dramatically changed the world. And all that does for us is it adjusts our thinking about the future and it speeds up our thinking about the future. And so things are and may be bumpy for a little while. But I am very certain that we have the right people, we have the right resources, we have the right structure to not only deal with all of that, not only survive like we've been the last couple of years, but to thrive. And, I'm proud of that. And we, the last 2 years have stunk, and I'm editing my language by using that word, but it hasn't been all bad. And this is crazy, right? But I've spent the last week, with some reflective time, and really there's 5 things that I think, dare I say, positive things that have come out of the pandemic. And I want to share them with you. Number 1 is we learned that we're not done learning, right? We learned how to use Zoom or FaceTime to connect with our loved ones and friends who we couldn't connect with because we were shut down. But now we can use that to connect with folks who are afar that we normally wouldn't get to see. And, that's going to be a positive change in how we have connection with our loved ones forever. And that's a positive. It forced us to do things differently. It forced us to learn. The second thing is we learned who is worth our time, right? We learned who we want to be around. And for a introvert who has been married for 30 plus years to an extrovert, I have to admit that sort of the reduction in social interactions wasn't such a bad thing for me. But for me, for sure, but I think for everybody, we've tightened our circles, right? We've thought about who do we want to spend time with? Who matters in our lives? I know I've heard from many residents who have said, hey, I've got a circle of people here who I trust. We have wine together. We have dinner together. This is who I know is living the way that feels safe to me. And that's made the difference in helping me get through. And I've experienced that personally, and I know you all have too. And I think we've also gotten better at telling those people how important they are to us. And And you know what? That's a good thing. That's a good thing forever. The third thing is the power of focus, right? When I think about not just focus in our social interactions, but think about the scientific community. Man, when those folks focused, they created a life-changing, life-saving vaccine in a miraculously fast time. And why did they? How did they? They did it because they shared information, they spoke to one another, they were focused on the most important thing. And that honestly saved the world. And for us, maybe our world's a little smaller here, so maybe we weren't making life-saving or world-saving decisions, but our focus was right on too. Our focus was on safety and togetherness and trust. And even though we didn't always all understand or we didn't all always agree on decisions, and I heard from plenty of you when you didn't agree with my decision or our decisions, and I still do, that's okay, because we allowed the undercurrent of trust and focus to ensure that we're making the decisions that we think are appropriate for the whole and for today and the future, for safety and togetherness and trust that brought us through. The fourth thing was the power of team or interconnectedness. From our leadership team, I know for sure we learned how to better lean on one another and learn from one another and really need one another. And that will make us better. It makes us better already today. And it's not just like, oh, that's good for the future. It's going to be necessary. We need all of the different ways people think. We need all of the different perspectives. And I've heard that from you too. You have that connection and that interdependence and that interreliability in and amongst teams for our staff and in and amongst your friend group for our residents. And that's a good thing. And then the fifth thing is we really, maybe not learned, but we're reminded of the power of facts, the importance of facts. I think sometimes, we can get so wrapped up in sort of the shock news and opinions on in the news that are like wrapped up in an outfit to look like facts, that they dress themselves up like facts, but they're still opinion, and I think we've always made our decisions at RiverWoods based on facts, and we've made good decisions because of that. But boy, over the last couple of years, we went to the source. We went to the CDC or the state epidemiologists to help us make the right decisions for our communities, our staff community, our resident community. And that's, I think, made the difference for all of us. So it's been a crazy and tumultuous time. And what I'm most grateful for is that we're all still here. We're here working together to make RiverWoods a great place to work and a great place to live. I am grateful for science. I am grateful for patience. And mostly I'm grateful for you, for hanging in there with us and for showing the trust that we needed to work through this together. So I wish you all a very happy holiday season and a 2022 that is filled with joy and peace and hope. And until I see you again, stay healthy, my friends.